On Cooking for Real today, we're actually going to do an advanced lesson. We are going to pressure can. What we're working on is actually an entire turkey, and then we're also doing a mushroom and onion mix. So we actually went to our restaurant supply store and picked up 10 pounds of mushrooms and 10 pounds of onions, and what we have here is 16 cups of homemade broth defrosting. We are going to break down an entire turkey, slice up 20 pounds of mushrooms and onions, and we are going to pressure can today. Advanced lesson today on Cooking for Real. So what we have here is actually 20 pounds of food. I have 10 pounds of mushrooms and 10 pounds of onions, and probably a half a cup of garlic powder, because the garlic itself wasn't cost efficient. All we really need from the garlic is flavor. So I'm just going to mix this all together, and then we will be taking the hot jars out of the dishwasher, and I'll show you what we do at that point. You need to work with sanitized jars when canning. The best way, the easiest way to do this is to simply fill up your entire dishwasher with the jars and run it through on a sanitized cycle. So I have these mushrooms and onions as tightly packed as possible, and I'm actually topping this off with some of the beef broth you've seen me make before. We need an inch worth of headspace, and I will show you. I have a tool specifically for that. This tool right here. It has little steps on it, and see how it just sits on the top? So I need the fluid to come basically to there. And oftentimes when filling these jars, a little's going to splash on the rim. So what I have here is basically a paper towel, and it's got a little vinegar on it. And it is actually really important to clean off the rim, because you can cause an improper seal. So now we're going to pop this lid on, and it is a ball lid with a ball jar. You just place it on top, and the ring, which is going to hold the lid on, and only finger tight. Now, finger tight is because you do actually have to let air escape. You don't want to crank down on these things. You'll have a difficult time getting them off later. So now what we're going to do is just place this jar right in the canner and continue to fill up the other jars. So while I have been prepping the mushrooms and onions, my partner here has been prepping the turkey, and we've gone a long way to make sure that one preparation does not touch the other preparation, because cross-contamination will mean salmonella. But there's another disease that you should be worried about when it comes to the canning process. If you don't can it long enough, or hot enough, or with enough pressure, you can get botulism, and botulism can cause a paralysis that, if it spreads to your lungs, well, it can be deadly. So with any of these processes, you need to be extremely careful and make sure you follow your instructions to the letter. First things first, we do need to wash this turkey really well, inside and out, and then we're going to start butchering this. We don't want the skin, we don't want the giblets, but what we do want to do is get directly down to the bone. You want as much of the meat off of here as possible. So you will see that he is removing the wings and the legs, and then he will actually peel all of the skin off of that to the best of his ability. The smaller bits, like the lower drumstick and the wings, probably just leave the skin on, because we'll throw that in later to brown up in the oven and then go into a nice broth. This is all of the meat that was removed from that 17-pound bird. And having picked up that tray, I gotta tell you, this is 15 pounds of meat. This is what is left after all of the meat has been removed from the turkey. And what I am going to do is season up this skin and the giblets and this neck and this carcass, and I'm going to put it in the oven and bake it, honestly, until the meat portions are cooked. And then I'm going to put it aside, and it will be the most amazing turkey broth you have ever had. Now, just like we did with the mushrooms and onions, you really want to pack that turkey in there tight and then cover it with a broth, leaving that 1-inch head space, and then the same process with the caps and lids. What's happening here is we are actually prepping the canner, giving it a good solid wipe down on the inside with some olive oil, and you'll see even though this canner is actually brand new, it does lift some sediment up out of the grooved rims that are around the inside of the canner. It's also very important to give a nice swipe around the outer rim that will connect with the lid of olive oil to prevent sticking. We need 2 to 3 inches of water at the bottom. 2 to 3 inches, usually that's 3 knuckles worth, each knuckle being usually about an inch. So what we have going on here is our canner is on a propane stove. We have it out by the garage, and that's because this thing's actually going to make a lot of noise and create a lot of heat. It's going to start hissing and banging and popping. We're waiting right now for it to come up to temperature. You know what? We got no light here. Hang on. You can see I have built no pressure. I have got no temperature up yet. The snow, believe it or not, is not affecting this whatsoever. What's happening here with this steam is that we're creating a lot of heat. We are actually creating a lot of pressure, and in those things we are killing any bacteria. Alright, time for this thing to settle down. Once it hits 0, then we can bring it inside and take the lid off. These jars have been sitting here for about an hour. And I want you to notice that they are still boiling in the jar on the table. Boiling away. So when you go and take your jars out of the canner, you really want to take this jar grabber and use that, because these will take the skin right off your hand if I have them sitting on a table and they're boiling. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to ring that bell, and to join us on the Facebook page. Thank you very much.